Hello, welcome to what I'm calling my backlog busting live stream. I'm going to be going through stuff that I have put to the side for a very, very long time. It is my battle sisters from my Adeptus army, and I haven't touched them in probably over this squad specifically in over 2 years. So I'm hoping we can spend this time together to paint some minis and get through our backlog. So let's do it. If you can see, I got halfway started with this one, and I have a few that are already painted. I think 3. I went back and forth a lot with the color scheme for these. I really like, I think they're called the Order of the White Lotus, where they're all in white. And then I realized about halfway through painting this that painting in white is very difficult. A white paint scheme is pretty hard. So I got a little discouraged, but I think we're gonna go back and we're gonna tackle it again with a new one and go from there. I don't know if you can tell, but with what I tried doing for the white was that I did like a really tint of blue. So hopefully I can recreate that somehow. So we'll see. Oh, nice. You're doing the combat patrol? I want to invest more, but it's one of those things where I have a whole bunch of small groups of armies that I want to really find the one that I like 100% before I jump all in and get a whole bunch of. So I just have I forget the name of the starter box, but that's where these came from, that it comes with these guys, the like whip ladies. I'm forgetting all their names right now, but it was a pretty small box. It ends up being about 500 points with my Saint Celestine that I got for a gift. So yeah, let's jump into it. I forgot some paper. All right, so I think I'm just gonna start doing the cloaks first, since I'm already halfway through this girl's cloak, and like cloth. So I'm gonna start there with just some plain black. Black is also another one that's sort of hard to really do well. This one I added a little bit of blue on the tips. I don't know if that makes it look more dynamic. I hope it does. And you will notice now that I have just a really weird group of paints that I use. Like, this is airbrush paint, but I'm completely out of my regular black paint, and I haven't gotten a new one yet, so it's already watered down. It makes it a little bit easier, but you know, I should probably eventually invest into nicer paints, because like at this rate I'm painting so much and going through the paint so fast that I can now finally start to upgrade my stuff and actually have stuff that's usable. This definitely needed one more coat. But yeah, I hope you guys are going through your paint schemes and your backlog that you haven't gotten through yet. I feel like I started this whole channel because I had so many things I wanted to paint and just like could not sit down and do it. I had this big block, but now doing all these videos and stuff, I've gotten through so many things. So I hope that you guys can, I don't know, get something done. Even if it's just like one cloak or something. I'm glad you got to finish it though, on time. I know that. Wait, it's blocked here. Let me see. Oh wow, more than 2K. That's crazy. That's such a big army, but I just love them thematically. I think I think in terms of all of like the human races, they're my favorite. I just love the holy warrior nun look. Like their vehicles are my absolute favorite. Like they're just giant, like these giant, like they look like moving cathedrals or something, and like organs and things like that. They're just so cool. They're definitely my favorite aesthetic out of all of them. Another reason why I haven't gotten through these in a really long time is because I have to do like 10 cloaks in a row, and that's just that can be a little bit mind-numbing. So I feel like this is the perfect chance to get that done, because then I can just sort of talk through my thoughts instead of being in my own head as I'm trying to do this. Like, look how weird that's coming out. That might be because it's an airbrush paint, but I'm completely out of all my other blacks. This is when the 3-coat method needs to shine. Like you can see my brush strokes on these, but hopefully several layers will help a little bit. I got to play with them a few months ago versus my Tyranids, and they did really, really well. Like, although I feel like the miracle dice were exciting at first and then didn't end up really working in my favor a lot of the time. Like, I wish they had either more miracle dice or a way to earn them besides just like once a turn. I don't know. I mean, they were strong, but you know that their like guns and stuff aren't as strong as a regular Space Marine and things like that. So it was rough, but then they got to revive, and that felt really good. Yeah, going to the store and just picking the one that looks the coolest is definitely, I think, the way to go about it. I mean, at the end, you want to look at them and enjoy, you know, having them out in the field and playing with them. I mean, you should probably know at least a little bit of the lore, but like all I know is like the story stuff, not how they play. So like I can in my head go, you know, oh, they're crying out for the emperor and and then I make up my own little stories for the battle in the game, and it makes it so much fun. Even if I lose, I'm like, oh, this is like an interesting battle in 40K. I don't know if anyone ever plays it, not like role playing, but like you're just making up little things in your head as I play. I feel like I do that just to make it feel like a real battle, real story. All right, a second coat is really helping that look better. Let's do her arms. Wow, it's been so long since I've done these, but it'll be really nice to get them all done because my Saint Celestine looks so pretty, and then when I played with the rest of them, they were all like half white, half gray. It was it'll be really cool to have them all together. I believe they are once the daughters of the Empire from the Horus Heresy. I honestly don't know much about the Horus Heresy at all. I had tried reading the book maybe like a year ago, like one of the Horus Heresy books, and it was an audiobook and I could not get into the audiobook. I don't know. I feel like I really want to start reading more of the Horus Heresy because it sounds like a really interesting story. But I have not found a book that I've gotten into. Hello, Goober. That's like a cute name. But yeah, I don't know. If you guys have a recommendation of a Horus Heresy book, if you've ever read one, definitely hit it my way because I have to look up so I can see what book I read, but it started out what sounded like in the middle of a story, and I was like, oh no, this is probably like book 2 or 3 in a whole series, and I need to find the beginning, and then just moved on. How am I gonna get in there? Let's see. Ooh. Falling asleep to audiobooks of the Horus Heresy sounds like an interesting way to sleep. I feel like you'd have nightmares because, 40K or 30K, I guess, is not the happiest place. All right. Oh, the other arm. You will also probably find out really soon that I just miss things completely the first time I paint something. Like, I feel like I watch people paint and they all always get every single little detail. And I, like, months later, will look back at a mini and be like, I can't believe I forgot that. Like, I actually have an example right here. This one was the first official one I finished. Look at that. She's got a little belt around her leg. I don't know if you can tell. I completely forgot it. Completely. It's been years. I've played with her at least 2 times in the past few months. Like, I just always miss it. I feel like I need to come back to my stuff after I sit down and like comb through it to see if I don't miss a little detail. All right. Maybe I'll do the red too. Red is a way more interesting color, and then I'll do the black and the red. Because if I'm just painting black paint for an hour, I might go crazy. So I'm gonna mix this with some black. It's just Army Painter Pure Red, a classic, and start there and work my way up. I never know the best way to start like blending and things like that. Sometimes I start, oh my goodness, do I even have any left? Sometimes I start at like the midpoint and then work my way and then I do the shadows and the highlights. Or sometimes I start with the shadow and then work my way up. I think this thing might actually be blocked. Oh my gosh. Let me see, do I have any way to poke it? Got this. There we go. I got it. Don't worry. There we go. I always paint my reds first. Oh, that's smart. Because that sounds harder to fix than another color. I will take your advice. I think I'll keep doing red for a little bit. Just grab some of the black, just a little bit. Make like a nice maroon color. I guess I could go in with this brush. Ooh. No, I've got fat fingers today. I think I'll go with the smaller brush so I don't make as many mistakes. It's okay if you missed some of the beginning. It was just me talking about my sisters and how much I liked playing with them. For my birthday, I got one of the vehicles, so I feel like I gotta make like a painting video on that because it has, I think this is the one with like the stained glass and stuff like that, and that sounds like a interesting challenge. I feel like a stained glass effect on a mini would be so cool. Boop. Just a little bit more black. Ooh, Necron, nice. Those also coming back to life are fun and also really frustrating, but they're really, really cool. The Doomstalker is a really, really fun model to paint. I really enjoyed painting that one. We recently did this like little mini Warhammer tournament with a whole bunch of my friends. We all just sort of got together and played with a bunch of little 500-point armies. And it was this really intense battle with the Necrons and the Eldar. Because like the Eldar kept using their like dice. I forget what they're called. But the dice that they can choose. And then the Necrons, every time he would kill them, the Necrons would just come back. And come back. And come back. And then in the end, they won. They had literally one person, their commander, left on the point, like the scoring point area, and they won. So they're a lot of fun. They're a lot of fun that way. My like thing blocks the messages. I'm gonna move my phone here so I can see it. I don't know how people paint like inside these crevices behind people. I guess you don't already put them on the base or something like that, because like, how am I supposed to fit my brush in there? We just do our best. I still haven't done the whole like get a wooden block and then, you know, like putty my unit on there and like the very professional way to do that. I feel like I should, just because it gets frustrating trying to paint in between these little areas. And there's some models recently where I feel like I'm like claw gripping them so that I can hold them without ruining the paint. And then at that point, it's like, just get the putty. Oh, shoot. Necron books would be really cool. Just their whole story is really interesting, especially when I was sort of digging into the whole Satan and like their background a little bit when I was doing my Valentine's Day video. And I was like, wow, this is really, really interesting. It would be really neat to have just more of their perspective, like their history. Definitely needs a second coat. Thanks. I'm glad you liked the video. I had a lot of fun like coming up with the idea, because there were a few things that I was looking into, like some of the classic pairings. But then I decided, why not go bigger? And it made it more fun, but it was also like really, really hard, because that was one of the bigger things I had 3D printed in a long time. And Belisarius is so cool. After that, I ended up wanting to do more of like the Mechanicus, or like just look into like their units and stuff more too, because that was a really cool model. Do I have an old cork or pill bottle? I might have some cork lying around. I'm sure there's like a wine bottle or something somewhere I can just take the cork off of and use if I need to. I just don't have a way to like stick it on, because I don't have like a putty or anything like that. And I know I can probably get it in like 2 seconds off Amazon, but like I always forget. But I really should start investing. Just a little bit more water. Right there. Okay. Yep, there's just going to be a white spot in that cloak that I cannot get to. I can get this part of the cloak though. Right there. Oh, upside down shot glass? That's really smart. Just like some old one, or even like those plastic ones that you get for parties or something like that. That would be a good idea too. But yeah, Call is a really cool model. It was very daunting painting him. He's got a whole bunch of little parts, and then you have to decide what each little metal piece is going to be. But it's worth it. Like once all the details started coming together, it was like, oh, this is really cool. This is really nice. All right. Where did I buy the dragon figure with the eyes? Dragon figure. I'm blanking right now. Let me see. Let me see what you're talking about. Oh, do you mean the Crimson Crocodile? I think that's what you mean, with the yellow eyes. That's from a board game. It's from Kingdom Death Monster. It's got pretty incredible minis, and that is from the newest, like, it's basically a whole new expansion. It's like a whole new game. Yeah, it's a croc. It doesn't look like it from the head forward. It looks like a dragon, I agree. Yeah, he's rude when you play with him. But yeah, he's from Kingdom Death Monster. The Gambler's Chest is their newest expansion. I really like it. And you're opening up a whole can of worms about Kingdom Death and board games, because you've seen all the board games I have, and I love them. But I really like the Gambler's Chest. I think it's a really good expansion to KDM. I would say that that's the way to get into it, because it's got, they've cleaned up a lot of the mechanics. They've got this really interesting mechanic where you can like go into more of like town building that I think is more interesting than they used to have. It's great. Yeah, Kingdom Death is a very fun game, and the minis are always a lot of fun to paint. Like the whole boutique sort of look. I think that's cool. This Christmas I gotta do Atlas. He's like a evil Santa Claus that eats children, and I feel like that would be really fun to paint. It's just huge. It's like this big. I don't know if you can tell. It's like that big. So actually it's right behind me. Oh, the other way. It's right behind me. He's over there. Let me see what you guys think. Oh, green florist foam. Like a giant pincushion. Okay, that's another good idea. And I have that. I definitely have that. So I think I can try that. I don't think at all it's like D&D. I don't know what kinds of board games you've played, but it's sort of like a arena battle. So you've got 4 people and 1 giant monster, and you fight against it, and it has cards with its different actions. And then after the arena battle, you do like a sort of like town management phase, where you look at your resources and you buy new armor and gear, and you sort of level up everyone, and then you go out again and fight a different monster or the same monster, and you sort of do that cycle. And then there's new events every year, because each time you go out and fight something is 1 year. This is Kingdom Death Monster. It's a very cool game. You can probably test try it on Tabletop Simulator on Steam. That's probably the best way to try it out and see if you like it, because they also have a whole bunch of scripts that like instantly set up the board for you, which is really nice. And then if you like it, you can invest in like the minis and stuff like that, because the minis are a lot of fun to paint. It's definitely aesthetically like Darkest Dungeon. I wouldn't say gameplay wise. I mean, turn-based, sure, because all board games, or most board games, are turn-based. But in terms of gameplay, I mean, I guess it does have like the towns that you're managing and stuff like that, but it's not a dungeon crawler. So you're not, going to different rooms. You show up in a big board with the monster right in the middle, and you fight it out. I'm kind of liking the highlighting going from dark to light. That's looking pretty good. Pretty good. Let me get some of this right here. And then some more over here. But I think we can go brighter. Just a little bit brighter. Oh yeah, I love Tabletop Simulator. It's so great, especially for a lot of those games that are like on Kickstarter, or like, you don't know whether you really want to invest in. It's really expensive. It's perfect for that sort of situation, because then you can like make sure you really like it. Yeah, it's part of the Gambler's Chest, the whole chest, which is a lot, but it comes with the crocodile, the ball of human bodies that I made. I think I'm I'm already forgetting his name, but that one, the Santa Claus, and then like 50 other smaller minis that you can use for like D&D and stuff like that. God, this paint is so old. Yeah, and some other monsters too. You can buy individual models though of like some of their fighters and stuff like that. I learned this trick that putting orange instead of white is the way to highlight red. So I'm gonna give it a try. I think I did that with the lion, the Noel Johnson. I did that on his cloak and I thought it came out okay. I don't know. I wasn't super convinced, but something that I've really wanted to work on is getting like bolder with my contrasting, with like my highlighting and low lighting. Like I feel like sometimes I do it too subtle and I can see it in person, but then when I take a picture, it doesn't pop and stand out as much as I had hoped. So something I really want to practice is like going like just like really bold with colors and seeing how it comes out. You've been learning your highlighting from me? Oh goodness. I'm learning too then. We're learning together. Just got back from the dentist. Nice. I need to do that. Yeah, and adding white does make it look pink, and I agree. I definitely don't want a pink cloak. That doesn't make any sense because that doesn't look brighter. That looks almost like you've washed out the color from the cloak, and that doesn't make any sense at all for what she's doing. She's like in the middle of battle in the sun, so orange makes more sense. Yeah, I get that about seeing them too. It's something that I feel like I watch a video over and over and I still sort of miss that in-between step. But I'm glad you're learning a little something from me. But like, can you tell? You can kind of tell. I feel like I need a little bit on that second fold too. And then that'll make it, and then that should be good for that. Just a little bit more. Maybe right like here. Oh, whoops. Yeah. Well, I'm glad you think I'm a good teacher. I feel like it's more like a learn together process, and then I tell you what I find out instead of teaching. But one day I hope to be a real like teacher figure. You know what I mean? Right now, I'm not confident enough yet, but soon. That's true. That's true. I feel like practice and talking through what you're doing and like just thinking about it a little bit really cements in the lesson to like me. So I was watching all these videos and it would only get me to a point, and then I just had to start applying it and seeing why they did it that way. So like sometimes I would try to do it opposite on purpose. And I'm like, oh, that makes sense. Why they did that now. And oops. And like why they do things the way they do. Like I did do that pink once as I was highlighting, because I thought, sure, that makes sense. It did not make any sense. So now I know, like, okay, orange looks better and makes it seem more like it's in the sun. There, that red looks good. I'm happy with it. All right, moving on. New girl. I have not tried oil washes yet. That is very intimidating to me. And I also don't really know the best way to apply it. Like when is the best time to apply it? Like when would an oil be better than just like an average wash? Is it always better? Is it situational? That sort of thing. I feel like I need to do a lot more just like looking into how oils work before I jump into it. But every time I see a finished product of one, it looks amazing. So I'm sure it's worth it. It's just finding the best way to use it. I haven't figured out quite yet. I'm sure that'd be a fun video to watch of me trying and failing at oil washing and then eventually getting it later. Thanks. I'm glad you like my videos of me talking through it. It's literally just like this right now. I just like blab into the camera and then edit out what doesn't make any sense and then put it on there. So I'm glad it works out, because it's just like all the thoughts running in my head as I'm painting it, like, why doesn't this work? Or, oh, this is working really well. I don't know if this happens to you guys a lot, but it always drives me nuts where there's like a little droplet of water on the metal part of your brush, and then it starts to slowly drip and then soaks your paintbrush, and you're like painting something and next thing you know you got a giant blob of water. It happens to me a lot. And it drives me nuts. Well, I'm glad beginners like my channel. That is the whole point. That's why I started this, because I was in a place where I felt like I don't know what I'm doing. I don't feel motivated to do this. All the videos that I'm watching are just disheartening. So I'm glad, I'm really glad that it helps. Would waterbending make you a better painter though? Is that how it would work? I don't know. You'd probably do really good wet blending, you know what I mean? That was really dumb. Let me see. Again, I've definitely got to invest in putty or something, because now I can't reach this back. Oh boy, I don't know how I'm gonna get in between there at all. All right, beginner lesson to all you beginners. Don't glue your base on. Don't do it. Or you'll be in my situation where I'm literally poking my paintbrush in, hoping that I cover the whole area. Learn from me. Ah. Oh, I hope my hair isn't making noises on the mic. Oh, goodness. Okay. Yeah, pin your models. Or if you don't have a way to pin them, just claw hold them. Like you can be holding her head while doing this and it would work. Just don't do this. Don't do it. To be fair, I glued and built these like maybe 2.5 to 3 years ago. So I was a very different painter back then. I'll forgive past Mel for future Mel's struggles. I gotta wait for that to dry. I'm gonna do some black. Repainting their fingerprints? Yeah, probably. I've definitely done that too. I definitely need to buy a new black. Because using this airbrush paint just doesn't seem right. Like you can see my brush strokes. Looks very strange. And then, do you see that? How it pools almost? And then like runs off? I don't know if you can tell. It's very bright. But I've noticed that happening a lot with specifically this white primer that I use. This is a rattle can. I think it's the Army Painter White. And certain paints just slide right off and don't stay, like my metallics, this one, and some select Army Painter paints. I don't know why this happens, and it drives me nuts, but it's as if it's not gripping the paint. Yeah. Maybe black paint does that. I'm not sure, honestly, if black paint separates from water really easily, but if that's true of black and metallics, then maybe that's why. I don't know what the solution is though. Besides like a different primer or something like that, but I basically need to do an entire coat just to mostly coat it so that the black paint for the second coat can like absorb and actually stick. It's weird. I'm really glad I started airbrushing. I have to do it in like my garage just so that I can ventilate, like you guys said. And then I've got this huge, like, not industrial size mask, but I have a mask that that's graded to like prevent all that, because I used to also do like the resin stuff. So, but protection and ventilation from airbrushing is super important. Definitely don't invest in it unless you've got a place where you can do it without ruining the air quality of where you live. Like, I actually have like a little air quality monitor, so that way I know not to breathe in crap if I'm in here. I'm sorry, stuff. Am I allowed to say that word? I don't know. Thanks for hanging around. Bye. Airbrushes were super intimidating at first, but I found out that actually using it isn't so bad. It's the cleaning that's really difficult for me. I mean, maybe some people get it right away, but I have a really hard time cleaning it out every time. Like, it ends up being really difficult to sort of use on the fly. You have to prepare for it. So you have to make sure everything is clean and put away. And then when you're going to use it, you've got all the materials that you need sort of like handy. And if it doesn't work, then, you know, you're wasting a lot of time into your very precious selected time that you've used to paint. Because you know, I only have a very specific amount of time I can paint. I can really only paint like at this time right now, like at night. So you need to make sure that you always have it like perfectly prepared. And that's the most frustrating part, but it's a lot of fun to use once it's ready and going, and it always looks really nice. Oh, nice. Yeah, masks are super important when you airbrush. If you're gonna do it, you gotta also get a mask. You don't want to be breathing in actual paint particles. You know, you drink it and breathe it, that's really bad for you. You gotta pick one, you know what I mean? Yeah, I said a bad word. Don't don't out me, okay? All right, that second coat is looking good. I might need a third though. Just because there's like a little dot right there. Foundation brushes for cleaning. That I didn't know. I do use the Q-tips to get like the part where the needle is. But the makeup brush, that's interesting. Yeah, that means it's okay to be without your mask if you're not drinking it. Because you can only have one. You can't have both. But you can have one. It makes you a better painter, so they say. Yeah, I'm joking too. Please, I feel like I'm going to need to put a disclaimer on this. Please do not inhale or eat paint. Please, don't do it. It was a joke. Okay, that looks good. I'll do that later. All right, the best place to highlight would be probably just this part, and maybe a little bit inside there, but I'm thinking just this raised lip right here. That's another thing that I need to work on, is learning how light hits things. So I feel like I end up looking and studying it for a really long time before I find the best place to do the light. It's why I like zenithal highlighting so much, because it gives me a better look. But I really want to learn how light works a little bit more. So like, I know obviously it's going to hit there, but inside the cloak right here, where is it going to hit? Like, where would that light hit? And I can hold it up directly to my light and kind of tell, but it's not, you know, it doesn't actually change the color for you when you're looking at it in the light. So you have to sort of make educated guesses until you know what you're doing. So I think I'm going to do like a little triangle, like right here. And then just go up the cloak and hope that that makes sense. I think it makes sense. No, guys, don't eat or drink your paint. I'm not glad that you know what Agrex Earth Shade tastes like. Yeah, there's, I can't believe. Well, I'm glad it's at least improving your painting. If not your stomach. And yes, makeup stuff is really expensive. Definitely, if you're ever going to use makeup anything for mini painting, go to the dollar store, like you said, and get it there. Like, I use this old dollar store makeup brush for my dry brushing, and it works wonders. Don't use expensive makeup brushes for mini painting. You don't need it. Ooh, look at that crisp line I made. Like, that looks sharp. Nice. Okay. I'm gonna do a little bit of the border of this right here. Just to make the edge there pop, because I'm not going to be able to really shade inside that cloak. Oh, and then I forgot the front part of her cloak. Let's get some black. And then I need to try to figure out how I want the blue to look with these blacks, because I don't think I like the way the blue on this one looks. I think I can do even more. I don't know. Because I feel like gray doesn't make sense either as a lighter tone of black. At least not in this situation. I feel like it's similar to the red to pink situation, where it looks like you're fading the cloak instead of highlighting it. I don't know what other colors you've tried highlighting black with. It just feels like an oxymoron to even say, oh yeah, I'm highlighting my blacks, because what is that? You know, like, black is the absence of color. How do you highlight that? What does that look like in the sun? I think the blue works, but I think I'm going to try and make it a little bit more pronounced, because you got to go bold with minis. I think I watched a video once where they said, like, since minis are so small, it makes sense to be more contrasting with it so that they stand out more. And I've heard that, but I haven't applied it yet. So I feel like every little mini, I just got to be a little bit more bold with it, a little bit more of a highlight, a little bit more of a low light, until I get to a place where I really like it. Well, cloth is not very reflective, so I guess it would just be much less pronounced, that sort of highlight that you would be doing. But that makes sense, the reflection of the actual material. Because if you were doing metal, or like a non-metallic metal, then that changes it completely. You're not just going dark, medium, light, you're actually making reflections and things like that. Oh gosh, let's do this back again. It's gonna drive me nuts if I leave it like this with all the stroke marks. But I can be a little bit more quick with it. Yeah, I feel like getting bolder with the colors is not only more fun in a way because you get to actually play around with fun colors. I feel like they, when you put them on the board, you're like, whoa, those look really good. Like they really pop, which is what you want. You want someone to look at your mini and go, whoa, that looks so nice. Okay, that looks better. Oh no, I need to blend this. Okay. So after the Sisters of Battle, another one that I've been sort of taking my time on are the rest of my Necrons. I, a while ago, saw this amazing deal on eBay, which is a trap. It is a trap to go on eBay looking for minis. Because next thing you know, you're gonna buy like a giant box for like 100, like 150 that has a whole bunch of random sprues and random things, and then you're never gonna paint them. I feel like that I got trapped with that one, but it was my Necron army. So I have so many troops to paint. Thankfully, that one is dry brushing, which I love. It's such a fun technique to use. I use it every chance I get. If I could dry brush this girl right now, I would be, but I can't. But yeah, I've got a ton of Necrons still to do. And then after that, the father-in-law, he was playing Warhammer back in 2nd edition. He was playing 40k, and now that he's older, he's like, oh, I'm not going to play any more Warhammer. Here, have all these old Eldar. And now we've got boxes and boxes of like the metal Eldar, the ones with wings. I need to look up all the names of these things. I'm not well versed in all the names. I'm more of a painter than a player. I play it because it's fun, but not so intensely that I know all the names, all the moves, things like that. But yeah, I've got all those to paint too. Or at least I want to. They haven't been painted for like 20 years. It would be really cool to finally see them painted, you know what I mean? But that's a whole other thing to tackle, because one, does paint work differently on metal? I would think so. And then if it does, what do you have to do differently? Do you have to use a different primer, or you just use the same primer and then paint it normally after that? I have no idea. Fluorescent highlighting sounds really nice. Like actual fluorescent paint, because that would be really pretty, I think, and super bold. But yeah, and he also had a whole bunch of old Necrons as well. They're like the old, they're like the bigger ones. Are they called the Exterminators or something? But they look really neat. They look almost like Terminator-esque, like Cybertech. And there's those to paint. Some of them are he already painted. But gosh, there's so much to go through. And then there's new minis coming out all the time. Like this Skaven Tide box looks so cool. Like Skaven are one of, I think, the most interesting Age of Sigmar ones. Like I've got my Night Haunts, of course, but I feel like, man, all the races in Age of Sigmar are really interesting. You've got the Seraphon, you've got the like mermaid people. I forget their name. But yeah, and then, oh gosh, and then if you have a 3D printer, you want to subscribe to all those Loot Studio, or I used to be subscribed to Loot Studios, so that's why I say that, but like all of those like subscription mini modeling ones where they have like the STL file ready for you to 3D print. And then there's all those. It never ends. I feel like I could go through 100 of these backlog live streams and still be at square one. It can be very overwhelming at times. I legitimately get overwhelmed when I think about all the things I want to paint and all the things I have already to paint. And like I just need to remind myself to go, one at a time. Whatever interests you most, do it, but try to finish the project before you move on, or else it's just the same thing over and over again, and next thing you know, you're going to be like 100 models deep and like haven't gotten anywhere, if that makes sense. Oh, okay, the paint attaches to the primer. Well, that's good. Oh, okay, yeah, the deep skin, the mermaid ones. Flight stands are frustrating, I agree. And I have a really bad beginner mistake that I did. I'll show you guys what I did so this is another tip. Don't do this if you have flight stands and you're going to paint them. I had first primed my sisters in black, changed it because I realized that I wanted their armor to be white, and I did not remove them from their flight stand. So my flight stands look like this now. And right now I'm like, what am I gonna do? I feel like oh gosh, I don't even think I can do new flight stands. They're just gonna be on not clear flight stands. Don't do this. Don't do this. I mean, I guess I could paint it to look interesting, like maybe make it look like flames or like lightning bolts, or make it look a little bit different than just painted white. But yeah, flight stands can be really annoying. And then when you pick them up, when you're playing with them, they like can pick up a whole bunch of other units. Oh, sanding it off. That's not a bad idea. I could try. I didn't try it. I didn't think it was possible. I could. It might make the clear though, like have scratches. You know what I mean? Because I'd probably end up scratching some of the clear stand as well. But it might be worth a shot. Sometimes it feels like I can't stop painting, but it's most likely I've got so little time. I need to keep painting while I have the time. But then I'm getting distracted reading your comments, and then and I'm like, oh, must paint, must finish. Because I don't know if you've noticed, but it's been an hour and I've done a cloak and a half. So I'm definitely spending a lot more time than I usually would. But paint thinners. Paint thinner, I'm worried might take off the wrong paint, but I could try, if not sanding it. Gosh, there's so many ideas. But I feel like I should try to utilize the mistake, like sort of like pivot. So I think either painting it to look like lightning bolts or flames, or like Ethan, I hope I said that right. Ethan said to use like green stuff and like model something cool. That would be interesting. I much prefer what they do with them, where they use like the scrolls to hold them up, because I think it's thematic, because it's, you know, like their scripture, but also like looks interesting on the battlefield instead of just like a clear white. I wish they did that for a lot more of them, but for like a regular, I forget what they're called. They're not a Seraphim squad. They might be called something else, but I feel like for them, it doesn't make as much sense to do that. And this black is super shiny. I don't know how I feel about the black paint I'm using. I can try. I have another air. I've got Vallejo air in black. I can try this one instead. Yeah, like a jetpack fire effect. Exactly. I feel like that would be really cool. Ooh, or cotton balls. You guys are coming up with good ideas. Oh, Ethian. Oh, interesting. I like that. It's a cool name. But yeah, you guys are coming up with really good ideas. Maybe I can just like test a couple, see what I like. So I like the smoke, like the fire, the green stuff. Okay, my brush is okay. I have a really hard time keeping the point. I'm trying my very best, but all right, let's see. Let's try this one. Maybe it's just the quality of the paint. Nope. So that's the Vallejo one. And this is the, what brand is this? The Galeri, same model as my airbrush. Oh, but look, that one pools. It's darker, but it pools up. That is interesting. Whereas this one, it comes out more gray, but doesn't pool and sticks to my white. They both seem like not good options. I will admit. I don't like either. But at least this one doesn't pool up. Man, now you guys got me thinking about this squad and what to do with them. It's actually making me remotivated again to paint them, because that's one of the big reasons why I stopped painting them completely, because I saw what I did to their stands after I finished priming it in my frenzy. Like, I'm pretty sure I went into a frenzy like, no, they all have to be white. I didn't even think about it. And then I got really discouraged. But now you guys are coming up with really cool ideas. And I want to try it again. But like I was saying, I got too many projects to do. It never ends. So I do really want to finish my night haunts as well before I try Age of Sigmar for the first time for my friend Ray's birthday. So I don't know how you guys think of projects to work on and what's the next thing you want to paint. How you organize your hobby life. Oh, maybe it's just that side in general. Maybe it's just the side of the cloak that's acting up, or it's mixing with the other paint or something, because now it's all clumping or sliding off. Oh, I think it's because I used the wrong paint. Whoops. That's going to confuse me. I'm going to turn it this way. There we go. Well, I'm glad we're all on the same page regarding organization. And it's just do whatever as you buy more. We all have that in common, because that's definitely what I do too. Like today I was like, oh, the sisters sound fun. I haven't painted them in a while. And then tomorrow it'll be, oh, I really got to finish my night haunts. And then, days later I'll be like, I've got to 3D print a whole bunch of Skaven, because Skaven Tide is really hype. And so it goes. I can try mixing the two. You're saying mixing the two different blocks? I can try, but I don't think it's going to make much of a difference. And I can't tell the ratio because they're both black. Let's see. Not bad. Maybe I can zoom in a little bit more. Maybe that'll help. Oh. Is that better? Or is it blurry? Yeah. I haven't been able to think of a scheme either for the Skaven that I've 3D printed. At first I thought something cool and different, like albino Skaven or something like that. But one, it's white again, and as we've learned, painting white is really hard. Two, I learned about recently the different hierarchies of the Skaven based off their fur color. I had no idea, like absolutely no idea, that fur color sort of dictated where they were and like social standing and things like that. And then I was like, oh, that doesn't make any sense for like my clan rats to all be white, because that's like the higher ranking ones or something. So I have no idea what to do for them. You guys, I plan on doing a video for them. You guys will probably find out as that video goes on what in the world I'm doing, because I still don't know. And I don't think I will know until probably like halfway through. I think mixing them actually did work really nice. Yeah, albino is cool in theory. I don't know if I have the skills enough yet to execute the idea. Because one, I primed them all on white and that was a bad idea. And two, I don't know how to make them stand out without just looking washed. I feel like, thinking back on it now, I would need to prime them in like a gray and then work my way up to white. But like albino is like pure white, you know what I mean? Like those rats that are like all white with the red eyes. You don't see barely any color variation. I feel like the reason they look interesting is because of the actual texture. Like they have fur texture, and the models that I've 3D printed don't have enough texture to really make that stand out. So I feel like you would need to do gray to have that make sense. And then they don't really seem as albino as you would want. I've been thinking about this a lot. I'm not really sure if it makes sense to continue with. Oh my gosh, you guys are typing so fast. Druid farming themed Sisters of Battle sounds absolutely wild. I cannot imagine the sisters farming at all, but I love it, and that sounds really cool. So they're like green and brown, maybe? That sounds really interesting. I feel like farming for the God Emperor is really funny to think of in my head. Yeah, and batch painting is tough. Sounds like heresy. Exactly. But yes, I agree with you guys. Just paint what you want and what sounds cool. I know I said that that's something like unique or silly. You know, I said that in a silly way, but you really should do whatever you want. I just felt like I was more maybe flying too close to the sun to figure out what I was doing, and sort of started jumping into it, and then realizing that, wait, this needs more planning and this needs more thought behind just, oh, albino rats. So it's just something that I really got to think about more about how I do it, which is unfortunate because they're already all primed. But That's a situation for future me to solve. Chaos, your sisters. That's also heresy. Those poor girls. I mean, there's always going to be corrupted humans by the chaos. I understand that. And chaos is really cool. But I can't believe you do that to them. All they want to do is love the God Emperor. Lavender. Lavender would be interesting. That way it looks like a shadow, but it's not gray. That's something to think about. Oh my gosh. Yes, yellow armor is one of the hardest colors, I think, too. Because yellow is just difficult to work with. But when you do yellow really well, I feel like it really shines. I'm sure you guys have seen the video of, I think it's Goobertown, doing his yellow armor. And I think he used pink as an undertone, and that came out really nice. If you haven't, he has a video on it, and it's really informative. You guys should totally check it out. Pigs and chickens with your sisters. That is absolutely crazy. That sounds like such a fun one to play with, though. That's great. You totally got to send me pictures of them on my Instagram so that I can see them, because I actually cannot imagine druid sisters. Oh, now you're bringing the orcs into this. The sisters will definitely have something to say about that. I like the theory, though. All right, let's do some red. Oh, that's cool. I'm glad you got to try it. That's a color scheme and color idea that I've really wanted to play around with. And just like undertoning things in general, I've been really enjoying the photos of models that people have done where they first like primed it and did undertones in like completely different colors than what the model is actually going to end up being. So like purple undertones, blue undertones, orange undertones. I think those look so interesting, and it gives it almost like a cartoony look. Like, I'm a huge fan of that, like almost not watercolor. I guess it's kind of like watercolor, but not as like faded pastel, but that almost like cartoony color that people do with like their models. I think it looks so cool and really like makes your models stand out and look really interesting just to look at and like vibrant. That's another one I've really wanted to try, and I've talked about it lately with some of my friends. Just like base it in like a deep purple and then work from there and see how it looks, or like a purple in one way and then like a pink in the other as like the highlight, or where the sun's hitting, and then like a purple in the dark. I think that would look really interesting. But you also need a model that like would make sense with that. Like, I feel like in a lot of army models, you can't really do that. It has to be, or at least like Warhammer 40K. I feel like with fantasy with Age of Sigmar. You can really play around with colors more. That's why I really liked painting the Tyranids, because I feel like I could have painted them anything. Like, I literally just thought of something interesting and did it. Whereas with a lot of these like mech armory sort of things, you have to really, you can always paint whatever you want, like Druid Sisters of Battle, but I always feel compelled to do it a little bit more realistic, if that makes sense. Trying to use every paint I own on my Skaven army. That sounds crazy. I don't even know where to begin. I'm speechless. Like just pick a color every time, like on a color wheel, and then paint like their fur that way. That would be crazy. I feel like I'm trying to think how that would even work. They would be the most colorful and beautiful Skaven out there, that is for sure. They would be the rainbow Skaven. That also sounds like a really fun challenge, though. Yay, you made it! I'm glad you made it. Yeah, Age of Sigmar armies are just really cool. You'll be happy to know, Ray, we were talking about Age of Sigmar and how their models are just so much fun, and you can be a lot more creative and colorful with them. Which I think you really can. Oh, okay. I'm not going to touch it. It needs to dry. It was starting to pool up. And I don't want that to happen. You can tell. Okay. We're going to do the other side. It's blocking what you're saying. I need to figure out a better way to see the chat. Maybe if I did it like here? No. There we go. Oh, I'm glad you like my color schemes. Sometimes I feel like they're so out there that people are like, what? And they want to see something that's more like relatable, since I do, want everyone to feel like comfortable and like they can, try out some of the things I'm painting. But it's just really fun to think like outside the box. I don't know, that's what inspires me to paint stuff, is to do something that's interesting to look at and interesting to paint. I think that's also why I'm having a hard time getting back into like my Sisters of Battle, because I decided these colors a long time ago, and I was like, oh, I have to do one of the colors from the book because they have to be this order so I can get their skills, and it just doesn't feel the same. Oh, I think I'm painting this wrong. Is that... Oh no. Oh shoot. Okay, so I don't know if you guys can tell, but the flap here is going like over. So that means that this is the underside of the cloak, and it was all supposed to be in red. And then this part was supposed to be in black. Like this. maybe there's a way to save it. Maybe if I just go in with red, like the bright red. Oh, no, maybe not. Maybe a thin coat. Oh my goodness. Oops. Yeah. Either dry brush or paint it over, because now the red looks weird. Oh my goodness. Yeah, sorry. I was like reading through everything you were saying, and I could try dry brushing. I can try maybe just painting over it in white again. Because that looks like a different red now because I didn't... Yeah. Yeah. We can salvage this. We're just going to mix the usual color. We're going to put... Oh, you see? There you go. It just needed a couple coats. Mistakes live. Right here for you. The loft. All right, there we go. There we go. That doesn't look bad. And then this part that looks like that bright red is supposed to be the black. Happy little accidents. Exactly. It's just a happy little accident. Pay attention to what you're painting before you put the stuff on it. To be fair, I'm like constantly trying to read what you guys are saying. Oh, shoot, it is. Yeah, but I'm like trying to read what you guys are saying and painting at the same time and then like talking, and next thing I know I'm like on autopilot. But the autopilot is not piloting the way it's supposed to. There we go. But it's all fixed. Look, you can't even tell that anything happened. You see? Just one more coat. There we go. Like nothing happened. There you go. No, don't distract me anymore. That's okay. I'm just kidding. Talk to me. This is way more fun than just me in my own head. I probably would have freaked out a lot more if I were just by myself, all alone. Here we go. I've also come to realize that I think I just in general prefer painting over black primer than white primer. White primer makes the brush strokes and then like your mistakes way more prominent. And I know sometimes people do it so that it looks, you know, brighter. But the process, like, you know, the whole trust the process thing, the process is a lot harder to trust because you see a lot more of the mistakes at first until you've got like a few good coats on. I'm using for my red, where is it? Did I lose my paint? Here it is. Just some Army Painter Pure Red, a staple for all beginner painters. But I'm mixing it with some black to make it more of like a darker maroon, because I'm trying this time going from a darker shade and then highlighting up. So I used to do like the mid shade first and then do the shading and then the highlighting, like at two separate things, but I'm really liking so far how the other cloaks are turning out. So I think I'll stick with this plan. Because now I'm going to try the highlight, because I could really highlight this part a lot, which will be fun. Probably had too much paint on. There we go. I feel like that needs another coat. Yeah, there we go. Oh, and I need to do down here as well. Although I don't know if it makes sense for this bottom part to be red. Probably look interesting, but I don't think it makes sense for the actual, how the cloak would work. But that one I'm not changing, because it'll look interesting. Oh, I didn't even notice there was stuff back there. Wait a minute. Okay, yeah, that's in red too. Okay, there we go. Oh, my brush is fraying. I feel like I read all the techniques about how to take care of your brush, and it still is not a perfect point. But it's one of those things where this is my first real nice paintbrush I've ever had in my whole life. So I'm still trying to learn how to take care of it, but the next one I get is going to be like actually properly cared for. Do I have a preferred detachment? I will say that I don't know enough about the game, and I really only have this one group of people. Like, I use the box that it came with. Do I still have the box? No. I think I got rid of it. But it's just like a few arcoflagellants, the penitent engine, the squad here, the Sisters of Battle, the flying ones, and then the Saint Celestine I was gifted. I don't really have, I don't really know much more than that, I'll be honest. I am, like I said, not a well versed in how to play. That's more my husband that sort of sets that up for me, and then I just play with him. That is interesting advice. Just buy a new one. It's I mean, it definitely works better than trying to take care of it. So far, this brush is in good condition, though. I can still use it. I just need to remember to sort of like, when I clean it, I swipe down, so that way it comes back to a point. It's just when I use it a lot in like one painting session, it starts to just slowly fray and fray and fray. And it sort of just needs some time to breathe, I feel like. I don't know if that makes sense, but sometimes it literally feels like they just need some time to breathe and rest dry before I use them again. Yeah, exactly. A rich art teacher. I could save that money to buy a whole new set of minis, you know. Ooh, that didn't look good. Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm getting stuff everywhere, I'm realizing. Just fix that up. And then I need to re-highlight. Oh, interesting. Priming in blue and purple. See, that sounds really cool. I feel like I need to try that sometime. Just like as a new way to prime things. I feel like it just gives a whole other dimension to the models. Purple priming, yeah. Maybe I'll try that sometime soon. Because I just, like, I feel like they come out so flat, and I see other people use other colors to prime it, and it comes out so bright and just interesting to the eye. Purple prime, 10 out of 10. Okay, I'll give it a try next time. Next model that hasn't been primed yet. I'll do it. Oh my goodness. That was a lot of paint. Guys are distracting me again. There we go. Yeah, paint thinner would probably work. Maybe. I just wouldn't want to strip the whole thing. I'd end up probably stripping the whole thing if I did that. Which I've never stripped a mini before. I know that's something a lot of people do, like if they don't like the paint job or they want to redo it or something. But I've always been way too scared to even try like stripping a model and starting over. Because there's definitely a ton of things I think that I could repaint now that I have like a year of painting and practicing under my belt. Which, by the way, I can't believe it's been a year since I decided to do my video. It's pretty cool. I know I've taken a lot of breaks, but I'm sticking with it this time. I'm not going to give up. Thank you for the paintiversary. Yeah, it's been really cool. Like just seeing so many people who also really like painting too and really like you know, these silly little things that I make. It's been really cool. How does that look? I feel like a really good way to tell how it looks is on camera. You can see more of the highlights. I feel like I can go even brighter in this backlog. Yes, I will stick around. I will. I do have a full-time job, of course, besides this. And recently got a new one, which is why it's been very crazy and difficult for me to paint. So this is a hobby, the video making and the painting. It's like two hobbies in one, but I'm definitely sticking around because they're really fun to make, and talking to you guys is a lot of fun too. So there we go, even brighter. That looks better. Hello, welcome. I'm glad you made it. Just for a little bit. We're doing red cloaks over here, and talking about the best way to highlight red and things like that. The highlights definitely look better on camera than they do in person. So I feel like I can actually see where the color hits more. Let's do some of the orange. So I hope for most people watching this time that I'm doing the live stream isn't too late. It's the only time, unfortunately, that I can paint. Thankfully, it does go like online after so other people can see it. But yeah, I hope it's not too late for people. I end up staying up really late painting and doing stuff like that because I'm like, it's my only free time, so I stay up till like midnight and then work the next day, but I'm like, it's my only time to paint. 3 a.m.? What? You need to sleep. That's good for you. I was just talking about how I was so cool staying up until midnight. And it's 3 a.m. Well, thank you for sticking by even so late. But I do hope you get good sleep. Australia? That's so cool. Oh, I'm glad me venting about my hiatus helped you get back into it too. That's the whole point. That's why we're all here, so that we can paint again, you know, and find some joy in it. $11 a.m. Wow, you guys are up at all times of the day. Well, I hope you guys are getting a lot of rest, taking care of yourselves. Even if you go to bed at, 4 a.m. Okay, that's a reasonable time, 7 p.m. There we go. I probably need another coat of the black on her in some places. Like right here. Yeah, I'm East Coast too, so it's 10 o'clock here. Not too bad. You know, it's the best time for me to paint. So I come into the little corner of this room and paint in the darkness. I mean, it's bright in my room, but I always feel like I hide away in my little corner, and then I'm painting away. Hello guys, welcome. We are painting, well, I'm painting my Sisters of Battle that I haven't touched in over 2 years. These guys. The red is just your classic, here it is, Army Painter Pure Red, with a little bit of orange for the highlights and a little bit of black for the lowlights. Yeah. We're getting our painting done, or hopefully, if not, you're just relaxing. I've only done about three cloaks so far, and I have not highlighted the blacks at all. I've just been really focusing on the reds, which I forgot her sleeves. You know what I mean? How I was saying I always forget little things. And then I realized that I did it wrong, and I have to go back and get that paint again. I'm glad you like it. I mean, I'm glad you guys are just talking to me. That's the fun part. I mean, painting's fun too, but it's fun to talk to you guys. Yeah, yeah, it's the same way for me. I feel like I'm putting myself in the corner too. So this is like the complete corner of the whole house. So I just close, like, and it's 2 doors to get into this room. So I just close both doors and I put on like a podcast or an audiobook or something, and then I just hide away in my corner and I paint. So, I don't know if you guys know this, but I'm a very, very big Lord of the Rings fan. And lately, I've really gotten into this Lord of the Rings podcast, which, if you like Lord of the Rings, you should definitely check out. They're called the Prancing Pony Podcast. They're pretty popular in Tolkien circles, if you know what I mean. Yeah, they're really fun to listen to, and it's not something that I have to do my full focus on, like an audiobook or something like that. I can just sort of listen to them chat about how they feel about the books, and then they read some of it too. So I get like a little story and then a little talk, and sometimes they do like interviews and stuff like that. That's what I listen to while I paint. Ugh. That black is for another day. I think this model is my favorite of this group. I really like the hair. Like how it flows like that with her like power stance. All right. It's almost 10. That was when I was gonna stop. I think I will pause on these guys here and just read the last few things you guys are saying. I feel so fancy. I can change. Oh. There. Ooh, oops, sorry. Star Wars The High Republic. Ooh, I have a Star Wars book. I read the Thrawn books, the Sith book. I really liked it. It was a while ago though. But yeah, I think I'm going to finish here. It's been about 2 hours now. Thank you all so much for coming. It was actually a lot of fun. I was really nervous, but this has been really fun. I hope that you got some painting done or got motivated to paint something, and took some lessons learned about some of the things that I've done here today. And I'll definitely do this again. This is a lot of fun. So thank you guys so much, and I'll see you on the next one. I'm coming out with a video Friday, so stay tuned for that. And have a good night, everyone, or afternoon, or day, or wherever you are. So I'll see you guys later. Bye.